is provided by Illegal Pete's. And by Mamacita's Mexican Restaurant. By Paper Doll. By Peppercorn. By the Boulder Army Store. By Uptime, prize range 1 for affordable. And by Mike's Marine and Boats. By Jones Drug. By El Dorado Natural Spring Water. By Alley Cats. By Papa John's Pizza.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's Jann Scott, the Bomb.
I kind of like atomic bombs, don't you? Hi, I'm Jann Scott, the Bomb. Welcome to the it's 5 days a week in Denver, 7 days a week, 7 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. Tonight we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, including some of the riot prevention coming up on the Hill. We have a bunch of videos. One thing we're going to look at is, let's see here, O.J. Simpson and his parallel to Patsy Ramsey, both of them on television a lot. And then James Earl Ray, another guy who didn't do it. Todd Solomon doesn't want to have any kind of prayer before the state legislative meeting, so we're going to talk about that. Let me see here. Oh, Every Guy's Dream Girl. That'll be a nice video. You'll enjoy that. Plus, we have a new promo coming up. We also have a picture of a canine unit for another police department. Those of you who are asking about the canine unit that's coming to the Boulder Police Department next year, well, we have a little picture of what they do with. It's called Boulder's Doggy Unit. And then school buses, why don't they have seat belts? And then Moments of Madness. You've seen Moments of Science on this television station, right? Well, we have our Moments of Madness things to talk about. Anyway, about a couple weeks ago, there was the place was Nick's on the Hill, according to the Colorado Daily. The time was a pleasant Friday afternoon. The occasion was the first annual Pub Talk, an effort by CU Standing Committee on Substance Abuse that tried to get students and police to talk about alcohol rather than hurl rocks and tear gas at each other. They sat down and had a few brewskis together in the bar. And here to talk about that and riot prevention is Sergeant Mike Reddy, who is the head of the Hill team. His second appearance on our show, our very first TV show, and hopefully this won't be my last. You're not going to jinx this, right?
I hope not.
Welcome to the program.
Thanks.
All right. So, how'd it go at Nick's?
Nick's was interesting.
Yeah.
It was basically a lot of people, students, CU faculty, city officials, cops, all getting together, talking about alcohol issues in kind of a more relaxed, just conversational kind of atmosphere.
Really? So, and you sat down with some of the frat boys and sorority girls and broke open a keg, pounded beers,
And
right?
started to talk about it.
Did
Absolutely.
you? Were there actually cops having beers in there?
No, because I think everybody from our department was working, so nobody got to have beers. But
From your department? What about the CU police department? Were they having any?
they were there, but I think they were working too.
They were
So
working,
that's the only problem with our job.
Right. No. Yeah. And who else was there? CU officials?
Some CU officials, Mike Mansfield, who's of course the CU, City of Boulder liaison person, is kind of the person that set this up. He was kind of running it. Several people from our department, a lot of people from the IFC, and just
IFC?
the Interfraternity Council.
Right.
And then just basically anybody that was interested in coming in and talking about it, that had an issue.
And so how'd it go? What are some of the things that came out of that pub talk?
Well, it was kind of a round-robin discussion.
Yeah.
There was no open forum where people got up and spoke. It was really, if there was a topic on the table that you wanted to sit down and talk about, you sat down and talked about it. And
Did each table have a different topic or
each
something?
table had a different topic, and it was posted on the table.
What were they?
They ranged everything from changing the drinking age to dealing with athletes and alcohol. And I believe another one was enforcement of the alcohol laws and how we do that.
Yep.
A lot of things targeted or centered really around things that the police department's definitely involved in or has had some role in the past.
Okay, so one was athletes and alcohol. What came out of that?
I'm not really sure. I didn't sit in on that one.
Okay.
I mostly stuck between the change in the drinking age and the enforcement of the alcohol
Well,
laws.
athletes are supposed to be good role models, so they're not supposed to do things like go get drunk, punch out windows, or their girlfriends.
Exactly.
Or anybody else for that matter, like football players.
Right.
Right. So that's, you would think that. What about what was the other one, the drinking age, is that it?
Yeah.
Lowering the drinking
It was
age?
basically a discussion over changing the drinking age and how to lower the drinking age and should we go back to a 3.2% alcohol drinking age at 18. There were two gentlemen there from the university, students who knew more about the federal transportation safety bill, which is really what caused us to have a 21 drinking age, than anybody I've ever talked to. These guys had really done their research and knew what was going on with it. And were really a pretty good resource for us to kind of learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Well, it's very weird because last year, one of the things that happened is people, whatever happened, it seems like people drank too much, got hammered, and to the point where they decided that they didn't want to go home and confronted the police, and we had, these riots,
And we had
all
May
this
3rd,
riot
yeah.
footage that we've seen on television over and over and over again. 3-2 might help eliminate that, huh?
It could. I grew up in a time when they had the 3-2 law, and all I can say is it seemed to work well for us. But I don't know if these times are any different or the same as they were then. But
I think when you're saying, I kind of agree. I think I've been an advocate of that for some time. If you're going to sit back and drink the powerful beer and knock back Jack and whatever else you're going to do, and it gives you a lot of energy to go out there and fight with you guys.
absolutely.
Yeah. So.
It was an interesting afternoon. I think it was pretty productive actually. It allowed us to be able to talk to people in a relaxed atmosphere, and they were asking about the way we do things and why we do things. And once we explained those, most of those people didn't have much of an issue with it.
How are we going to change things from this? From this scene that happened last year. What's the basic plan for the police department this year?
Well, our biggest thing this year is targeting on prevention. We don't want to see a repeat of last year's riots. Is our number one priority for this spring is to try to prevent that from happening. And obviously, a couple of things we're going to do is a lot of it's been taking place over the last year. A lot of the meetings with the student groups, the community speak out sessions, things like that. Then, of course, a lot of it will take place this weekend. We're going to have a lot of officers out on the Hill, and their primary function is going to be to deter the type of activity that led up to last year's riots. Not so much just to be a crackdown of all the laws and things that are going on, but really just kind of be of a deterrence to the people that want to build fires in the middle of the street, that have these large parties that get out of hand, and those type of activities.
440-3572. Sergeant Mike Reddy's here with us. You probably recognize him. He's been on the Hill team for a long time here in Boulder. Been a police officer for how many years?
13 years.
13 years in Boulder. If you're a university student and you're on the Hill at all, you certainly recognize him. And you can call him and ask him anything you want to about this weekend and the several weekends to come. Kinetics weekend is this weekend, traditionally a huge weekend in Boulder, right? 30,000 people out at the res generally?
Yep, from what I've told, they're expecting, again, record crowds. I think the weather this year is supposed to be better than it has in the last couple of years. And Fortunately, in the last couple of years, there's been a big change in the alcohol policies of what's going on at the Kinetics, and what that has led to is a lot fewer problems for the police department to have to deal with.
What are the alcohol policies that Kinetics? I mean, Budweiser sells beer out there. I know
Budweiser sells beer, but other than that, there's no alcohol allowed to be brought into the grounds. And that's any kind of alcohol, beer, wine, anything in a cooler, all that stuff is all banned from the reservoir, except for what you can purchase there.
Okay, so and then they sell beer there, and because we had in years previous to last or the year before last, we had some bad wrecks. I mean, I think I can remember that weekend. Didn't we lose 2 or 3
Bad
people?
wrecks, lots of fights, basically just picking up people who'd had too much booze, too much sun, and ended up in the MASH unit out there that Boulder Community Hospital staffs. Lots and lots of just real sick people and lots of hurt people.
Hardly any admittances to the MASH unit last year, and I think there were 0 admittances the year before.
I think that was correct.
All right.
So definitely has been a success as far as the public safety issue.
Okay, so then Kinetics somehow, I mean, certainly Kinetics, you've got the university still in session, so that's going to sort of spill over onto the hill, onto the weekend, this hill, right?
Probably. It's always one of our busy weekends on the hill. It's nice weather, getting out of school, people are wanting to party, have those kind of festivities, so.
Okay, do we have a call there, Gabe? Zach? Oh, no, okay. 440-3572 if you want to talk to Officer Mike Reddy. He's going to be here with us for a little while, live today on the 29th of April. If it's any other day, where it says over here, any other, here it is, right here, Daze. I can't reach it. There it is. Any other Daze line, jaw line, there it is. You can call me and leave a comment, and then we may or may not play your comment back at another time. But if it's tonight, which is the 29th, then you can call right here, and you can talk to a real, live, authentic Boulder police officer. In fact, he's a sergeant, and he's head of the Boulder Hill team. One of my favorite police officers in Boulder, Sergeant Mike Reddy, who we went out with him at the CSU game. Remember you guys saw that tape on the CSU game in University of Colorado a few Septembers ago where everybody was just hammered and beating the crap out of each other?
Big fight night.
Yeah. So what's going to be the position? What's kind of the plan for you guys on the Hill? When are you going to be there? What's that going to look like?
Well, for people that are around in the summer, it's going to be similar to what we've seen in 4th of July's past.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of officers out in the neighborhoods on foot, basically just trying to do some preventive kind of stuff. We want to basically prevent the kind of activity that led to the riots last year. People need to be aware of.
Are you going to be dressed in riot gear?
No. Officers are going to be in their regular police uniforms. It's probably not going to look much different than any ordinary night, except for you're going to see a few more officers up there.
How many?
We're talking around 40, I think.
You're going to have SWAT on call, or what's the story with that?
Well, since last year we've revamped the way we do our crowd control, so SWAT doesn't have such an intricate part of that anymore. It's more of now a department-wide thing, so all our officers have received training in how to deal with crowd control problems and things like that. But basically, some of the officers up there are SWAT officers, but you won't be able, people won't know the difference. I mean, they're just going to be cops up there.
Phil, hi, you're on the air. You have a comment or a question for Sergeant Mike Reddy?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a student who lives on the Hill, and I had a question for the sergeant.
Yeah.
There's that age-old saying that the government that governs best governs least. So I was wondering why there's going to be such an increase in officers on the Hill. Don't you think that would create more of a tension or more of a tense situation, with so many officers up on the Hill and so many drunk students out?
Well, I guess that potential is always there, but what we're going to hope for is that our officers, the way they're going to handle things and deal with things, don't become the catalyst for things to go wrong. But we also, after last year's festivities, would be pretty foolish to not take a more staunch role as far as what's going to happen up on the Hill this year, and be prepared for it, and even just have more officers out to serve as a deterrent to that kind of problem.
Right. Well, the way I saw it last year, especially on the second night of the riots, which was Saturday night, I think, I was at the bar with a couple friends, and the way I saw it was that it was a more confrontational situation when the officers were, gathered around the bars right when the bars let out, and it was a real bad situation to be in. I think if there wouldn't have been any officers up there, I think everyone would have just gone home, and there wouldn't have been a situation.
Well, the thing is
Hang on, if
that,
you want to check close up there, Zach. Thank you. Yeah.
the thing is that we're there every night at bar close. What happened on Saturday night last year was no different. Our officers, especially the Hill team, tend to gather around the 1100 block of 13th every night at bar close. And if the mere presence of a couple officers on that street caused a riot, then I think that's a pretty sad commentary for for what happened and everything. And I know there's been a lot of talk about the police presence last year caused the Saturday night riot. But I didn't see much more of a presence initially than any other normal Friday or Saturday night.
Right. It just seemed to me like there was an excessive number. I mean, it seemed like there were 100 officers up there, and that just seemed like a lot to me. And they were all, standing there in riot gear. It just seemed like a confrontational situation to me.
Well, and that term has been batted around, and people have asked us, "Are you going to be out in riot gear?" And we ask them to define what riot gear is. And the mere fact of an officer standing there in a helmet doesn't really dictate riot gear. If you'd been out there the night before and had things thrown at you all night, I think you'd probably want to protect yourself in a certain manner. But there were fewer than 10 officers on the 1100 block of 13th Street at bar closing last year when all that happened. That's not very many more than we have on the normal night. There weren't 100. We weren't lining the streets. So I can't give a lot of validity to the fact that the police presence caused that scene. We heard from the people in the bars early in the evening that people were talking about this kind of conduct and talking about having something happen at bar closing.
Okay, Phil, thanks a lot for your call.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, bye. Yeah. So how do most of the kids respond to you up there?
Pretty well. I think over the last year, I think we've come a long way as far as the relationships and some of the tensions that were there last year that aren't there this year. Certainly there are going to be those people that are different. We've continued our enforcement efforts in alcohol, and people who have had their parties busted or their kegs taken or have been ticketed certainly aren't going to feel that way, definitely. But I think there's been a change in our approach, how we've been dealing with those problems, and I think that's led to a little bit more of an understanding as far as what we're asked to do.
Yeah. What are some of the things, so that the college students really kind of get the message, what are some of the things that are absolutely, you do this, it's going to get you busted or cause a big problem, and what are some of the things that you might be easier on? I don't know if we can go down that
well, I don't
road.
know if there's anything I can say we're going to be easier on, but things that are absolutely going to be problems are going to be just walking around with open containers. That has always been, from 5 years ago when we first started the Hill team, that's always been a priority.
What's an
for
open
us.
container? A Pepsi can?
Any open alcohol container.
But if I have a can of Pepsi?
You're okay, as long as it doesn't have alcohol in it.
And if I have okay.
If you have a Pepsi that's that's half Jack, then you've got an alcohol container. So that's illegal.
All right.
So open containers of alcohol will be a problem.
Okay.
Large parties
Yep.
that are disturbing the neighborhood, that get out of control, that spill into the street, those are going to be a problem. Any party that caters to underage people or that has underage people there drinking at them is going to be something that's going to be a problem. And obviously the usual spring festivities of couch burnings and setting dumpsters on fires and things like that are activities that we won't tolerate this weekend.
Okay, now if you were to go from a 1 to a 5, 1 being the most severe, what would that be?
One being the most severe?
Yeah, 1's the most severe. Absolutely, this is not the thing to do.
Don't be carrying your furniture out and setting it on fire.
But why not? Come on! Come on, somebody call in and say that. Well, come on, why not? What the hell? Let us have a bonfire in the middle of the street. I mean, actually, what is wrong with that?
Well, it's a safety issue to begin with.
Yeah.
Number 2 is, for the students that are all going to be gone in 2 weeks, there are a whole lot of people that live, own businesses, and work up in that neighborhood, and they don't want it tore up. They don't want everything singed. They don't want piles of debris laying around. That's their home 365 days a year.
You've got a lot of old buildings up there too that are really kind of connected and don't
Yes, we
have
do.
great fire.
All it would
safety.
take is a small part of one of those fires to blaze off and hit one of those houses. We could lose a city block on the hill very easily.
Easier than you could, yeah.
Definitely. The buildings are close together. There's virtually no sprinkler systems in them because of their age, and they're all old stucco and wood buildings and lots of old things.
I made a suggestion last year when the university had some of its town meetings after the riots, and one of the suggestions I had is, why don't you have like a big couch collecting event, then take all the couches up to campus, and on the last weekend or last couple of weekends, stack them up and have a big bonfire the way they used to do in the 50s, the 50s out in the middle of, or 60s or whatever, out in the middle of the athletic field, and burn that, let them let off steam on campus. But I haven't seen, does the university actually have anything planned? Do they have festivities planned for the students?
I'm really
on
not sure
campus?
what they've
You
got
don't know?
planned this year on campus.
Right. Fighting, fist fighting.
Fist fighting won't be tolerated. The problem is that we just don't have fist fights anymore. People just flat pummel each other, and the injuries are getting more serious, and it's just something that we can't handle.
Hey, since Jerry Springer's become really popular, have you got people like really slapping each other around in bars and stuff, and stay away from my boyfriend? Any of that? No?
Not so much. They tend to still take it out in the street.
You don't get called over to an apartment and have them sit in there and go, I can't believe he was going out with my mother, and
Not recently.
You don't have to
anyway.
interfere in those kind of things.
Not too much.
All right. How about girl fights? And any girls or women?
On occasion, the women tend to get after it pretty good.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, the women are no different than the men. I mean, when it comes down to throwing down and going to fisticuffs, they can hold their own, most definitely.
You kids don't do that this weekend. I mean, I'm joking about it. I hope we don't, because what happened last spring, I mean, we're kind of joking back and forth, but that wasn't funny. That was serious business.
It was pretty serious, and it basically it gave the community, and it certainly gave the university a black eye everywhere in this country. I mean, people all over heard about it, and no matter what the cause was, or if there was a political statement to be made, vast majority of the people I talked to in other parts of the country said that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And these are people that were involved in protests for causes that they thought were worthwhile.
Stupid. I mean, yeah. Well, now just to the question I wanted to ask, and I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but I'll ask it anyways. It's about the Ramseys. No, it's not. I'm only kidding.
I have no knowledge of that.
All right. I know nothing. All right. If it were to go bad, I mean, like the thing just started to flame up and you had thousands of people and they wanted to fight. Last year you guys took it pretty hard for 3 or 4 days. Have you done extra training or done extra provisions to not lose this round if you lost the last one?
We've done a lot of a lot of training,
Yep.
and we purchased a lot of equipment. We learned a lot last year that will help us to identify more people who are involved, that will help us to arrest more people at the time. I believe that what's happened to the people that were charged in last year's riots ought to serve to enough of a deterrent to people to not get involved.
I heard you have enough beanbag rounds to outfit the entire Chinese army.
People were kicked out of school, and if that's worth
Yeah.
risking your academic career and you think you're not going to get caught, I don't know if I'd be willing to chance that.
Yeah, and I guess that's maybe my message is I know firsthand that these guys are so geared up that it's just absolutely the wrong year to decide to, I mean, it was dumb to begin with, but taking on the police department is really like, why bother over getting drunk?
It's probably a good way to put it. People that get arrested are going to be charged, and people that get charged are probably going to do jail time. And it's
How do you have fun? Let's say you're in college, you want to go out in the streets, you want to celebrate. It's kinetics, it's exams, we want to let off steam, and like this guy Phil called in and said, well, where's that fine line? How do you finesse it into letting people let off steam and celebrate and not have things look like a police state to them, which is what their
go to
complaint is.
the bars.
Yeah.
If you can legally go into the bars and go to them, I say that's the first thing to do is
Yeah.
go out and support those hill businesses.
Yeah.
There are a number of clubs on the hill that you can go to. Certainly, small parties in homes.
Yep.
We don't get too excited about, particularly small parties where everybody's of age. People really don't have anything to worry about. What gets out of control is what people don't understand is the party where you get there and it's 150 people and no one knows anybody. Nobody knows the homeowner. Nobody knows why they're there.
Isn't that what college is about? You go to the party with
that's what
150
happens.
people, you don't know anybody,
And I guess that's it. But, that's how to stay out of trouble.
yeah. The noise factor, when's it time to kind of start to keep it down?
The environmental enforcement people will be out, and they've got a whole other set of rules that they go by. But
Yep.
as soon as we start getting complaints from the neighbors, or people in the neighborhood sometimes because the parties get so loud, it's, when you get your first warning, it's time to take that warning and heed it and say, this is getting out of hand.
What are some of the tough questions for this guy? You're watching this, right? You go to college. 440-3572. Gabe, we getting many calls? What's happening here? Turn the mic on. Tell. I know we're getting lots of calls. Turn the mic on. Have Gabe tell me what we're getting. People don't want to give you their number or what?
We get a couple calls, but they're not all there.
They're chicken?
Messed up. Yeah.
Come on, you guys. Now's the time. We got a real live cop in here. Yeah. And he's the head of the Hill team. He's Sergeant Mike Reddy. And the idea is we don't want to see it blow up, right? But you want
Exactly.
everybody to have a good time.
Exactly. I mean, this is a good time of year. People should feel glad about getting out of school and things like that. But, there has to be a certain amount of respect for the community.
Yeah.
And what was clear to me last year was that those people didn't respect the community. And I think the community spoke back to them and said, if you don't respect our community, don't come to school here.
Are we a lenient police department? Are you guys a lenient police department in
I
this
think
community?
so. I think, we talk to a lot of students and they say, well, my friends go to school here and my friends go to school here and the cops don't do this. And generally what I hear is they're going to schools that are much smaller than Boulder.
Yeah.
Communities are much smaller than Boulder. I mean, a big party might be 20 or 30 people there. So there's no comparison. But I think if you compare us to other similar college
University cities.
Fort Collins, Madison, places like that, I think we're probably right there in the middle of them.
Lots of phone calls tonight. 440-3572. Just put them right on the air there, Zach. I'll take it. You have a question or comment for Mike Reddy? Hi, you're on the air.
Second. All right.
Hello. Got a question or comment for Mike Reddy? Nope. Yep. Hung up. Gone. Okay. What else? Did we cover everything here?
I think so.
Alcohol abuse prevention. Oh, 3 weekends. So what are the 3 weekends?
Well, we're starting with 2 weekends.
Yep, okay.
This weekend, the next weekend, and then there'll be some other nights in between where, we just don't want to get caught basically not having enough help. And so, it's kind of a fluid thing that we're going to have for the next couple of weeks. Like I said, most people may not even notice a difference.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get the word out that, those are the activities we want to curtail, we don't want them going on, and those are the things that'll get you in trouble.
Now, you were a kid once, right?
Absolutely.
You went to college, right? And did you go to the bars and?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, I was a product of the 18, the 18 generation or the 18 drinking age.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And, so I turned 18 my senior year in high school,
Yeah.
and we were able to go out. So,
Yeah, that thing about going out and getting busted, I always try to avoid that. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a bad thing.
you know what I mean? Go out and drive your car around the baseball diamond, or try to burn the neighborhood down. It's better to party and be cool.
And be cool about it.
Yeah.
And that's what we ask people is, have parties, have a good time, but, let's do them within reason
Yeah.
and keep them small and probably won't be a problem.
Now, do the cops have a favorite bar? Do you guys have a favorite bar you go to?
Um,
Boulder PD?
Not here in town.
Not here in
but,
town?
we do have some of our favorite hangouts.
Do you? Like Boulder Police Department has its favorite
Oh,
bars?
I wouldn't say the whole
Yeah, oh.
department, but certain groups in the department have places that they go.
Like the
and stuff.
SWAT team?
Like the SWAT team. SWAT team has a couple of establishments here in town that we've been known to be seen in.
We have a call from Chris. Chris, hi, you're on the air. Question for
Hey, how you
Mike
doing?
Reddy. Hey, good.
Listen, I wondered if you're under 21, you can't go to the bars. What do? How are you supposed to let off your steam, as you so call it?
Well, that's where you have parties at home or whatever, but, still the bottom line is under 21 and parties where people are drinking under 21 are probably going to get shut down.
That makes sense, doesn't it, Chris?
Say what?
Go to parties.
Well, you got to go to parties. You're in college.
Yeah.
Well, if we got a party going on, the cops come by, what are we supposed to do, Are we just supposed to go to bed at, 11:30 at night or what?
Well, no. I mean, are you going to go over here, Zach? Are you going to go out in the street and make a lot of noise at 11 at night? You can stay inside and have fun and listen to music.
Well, not at all, but I'm at a house. I'm not going to give you an address or anything, but.
Oh no.
And we got busted a few weeks ago, and it wasn't exactly huge. Nobody was out in the street or anything, but.
Well, don't
yes,
you
they
kids?
came in and told us to leave. They took our barrels and everything.
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I mean, don't you kids how old are you?
I'm 20, sorry.
You're 20, you're 18,
20.
18 going on 25. Don't you kids have a party at your house, then have some pops, Coke, ice cream, dance, and neck with your girlfriends? Isn't that it?
No, not really. Your boyfriend? No, we pretty much get a few barrels and just, we keep it as quiet as possible, and, they don't really get out of hand. It's got out of hand once, but.
Yeah. Don't let it get out of hand.
Well, right, we don't, but.
The cops aren't going to come if you're not making a lot of noise, right? Are they?
Pretty much.
Huh?
If they don't attract a lot of attention, why would we show up? We wouldn't know it was there.
The hell? What do they care?
Well, see, we're it's right on the hill, and we figure everybody around here is college students.
No, but listen, they care if you're out vomiting in the bushes, ripping your clothes off,
Right,
and
but
playing
nobody was doing that.
and playing ultimate frisbee naked. That's when they come by.
Right, but nobody was doing that. We were just having a party, and there were a lot of there were a lot of people on the porch.
Were you
but
blowing
nobody was out in the street.
Hey, Chris, were you blowing anything up?
No, we weren't blowing nothing up. Nothing was on fire.
come on,
No.
Chris, they didn't.
Something precipitated the cops showing up. Either it was a call to us, or we contacted someone leaving your party who was underage and maybe too intoxicated. But something along those lines caused us to show up at your party, because we don't just show up on people's doorsteps and say, hi, we're here, because we see them going on. There has to be something that gets us, basically, that causes us to want to investigate it.
Right.
Hey.
Another problem that I had was the cops came in, which I guess is understandable, but you told all the partygoers at our house to just dump all their alcoholic beverages on the floor, such as jungle juice and stuff like that. So we had a big mess of just, jungle juice and beer all over our floor.
On the floor?
On the floor. On the floor.
I find that hard to believe.
But I saw it. I saw it right in front of me.
Can I ask you a question? Were you tripping?
No,
Okay,
not at all.
I have another question, because to me that sounds like a hallucination. But I thought.
I was standing right there. Yeah. They just made people pour it on the floor. Not everybody.
What's your policy? Pour it on the floor?
No, we don't advocate tearing up people's houses, pouring their drinks on the floor. If we're in the yard, we'll have people pour it out. Or that's outside.
Pour it outside, and then if it's an underage party and you find a keg, you take the keg.
We'll
right?
take the keg, absolutely.
So that's understandable, right, Chris? Hey, Chris, I got a question for you. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, so what's the feeling about this weekend and next weekend? You think it's going to be pretty cool, or what?
Well, see, I think it could be, but I think the riots are pretty stupid myself.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said earlier, to let off some steam would be great. If they could just, have a nice medium between, a huge melee and just some house parties.
Yeah.
I think burning couches and all that is not too cool. That's just
that's
pointless.
what brings the cops on. It brings the fire department, and then it brings the and the cops come because people get pissed at the fire department.
That's the thing that a lot of people don't see is, first the couch catches on fire, and then somebody's car is burned or damaged by it, and then the fire department shows up and people throw stuff at the fire truck, and it's just one thing after another, which, why should we let all that take place to begin with?
Right. But what about, if you just have a party, why couldn't we just all get along,
Well, I'll tell you, I said it before, is you have small parties, if they're quiet, they're not causing a lot of problems, and they don't attract our attention, you're not going to hear from us.
Right. How about, I came out with this idea, and some of my roommates did too, of just, the last weekend there's no classes, classes end before exams, just have one, night or Friday or Saturday night where you can just have the kind of the hill blocked off or something and just let people party and
I wish they
don't
do
let
that
it get
on-
out of hand, but just
I wish they do that on campus there, Chris. You know what I mean? The university really should organize a celebration. You've got
something.
big fields there, and why they don't do that is because when you try to congregate that many students in a business district on the hill, that's the tough part.
It's pretty dense, and there's lots, people's houses, and it's so intermingled between full-time residents and students that it's kind of almost kind of a tough mix to try to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, listen, you kids dance, be good, ice cream socials, don't set any cats on fire, none of that stuff.
No cats. All right.
All right, see you,
Take
man.
it easy.
Thank you. All right. Well, Mike, thanks for coming by and
Absolutely.
visiting with us. This has always been engaging. And we have another call. Somebody else want to talk to Officer Reddy? We'll take one more call. You can blast him right on the air here, Zach. If you have a question for Mike Reddy or a comment. Hello, Reddy. Yep, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi.
Hello?
Make it quick.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
What up?
Hi. Nice to see you.
Yo, I forgot what I was going to say, actually.
Are you smoking pot?
No, not yet.
Are you studying? Hey,
Yep.
what do you think it's going to be like this weekend, next couple weekends? What's the attitude up on the hill? You're a student, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. But I was wondering, you kind of answered the question, but, like, if you're not 21, what are you supposed to do? That was the question, like. I want to,
Okay. Well, we came up with one thing, right? Parties, right? You're going to do that, right? So is there no place to go dancing? They can't get into any place if you're under 21 to go dancing?
Some of the clubs have some all ages nights.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that they have to look into and see what's going on. But some of the clubs have 18 and over kind of things.
What are you telling me? There's nothing to do?
Well, yeah, if you're not 21, I mean, this is Boulder. I mean, what else are you going to do but drink and smoke?
What about at the UMC? Is there going to be, hey, don't smoke marijuana, that's bad for you? No, listen, I'm just kidding. Are they going to have anything? Don't you kids take drugs? All right, listen, just think of me as a TV dad. Aren't they going to have anything at the UMC for you guys?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But another thing I wanted to talk about, I was talking to a couple other cops up there.
Yeah.
They were telling me about how I got call waiting too. About like a situation happened where an officer told my friend that they were not our friends, and I was wondering, that was kind of, I thought that was kind of a bold statement to say. It was Officer Joko, actually. I remember.
How drunk was your friend, and how hard was he
He said,
trying
"Well, my friend's like, I thought you were here as our friends," and he said, "No, we're not your friends." And I wanted to ask him then. I was kind of drunk at the time.
How drunk was your friend, and how hard was he trying to fight back with the cops?
My friend wasn't drunk.
He was not?
Yeah, he was over 21 too.
Was he blasted?
No.
Was he like half hammered?
No, he wasn't really even hammered at all. They cuffed him because he tried to stop him he tried to shut the door because he didn't know the people were coming in. They were, the cops were coming in. He didn't know there were cops coming in, but they were, he was just trying to shut the door, and they cuffed him. And then a situation, he was cuffed. He had his hands behind his back, and the officer runned into him, bumped him, and turned around.
All right, well, hang on here.
I mean,
Let's let Mike respond to this. You must hear this all the time.
Yeah, I mean, are you our friends?
Sure.
Okay, I mean, that's all, then you got to tell that Joko guy not to tell people that you're not our friends. I mean, because that's like what we don't want to hear,
Joko? Who's
like,
Joko?
I'm a peaceful guy,
Hey, listen, thanks for your call.
Yep, thanks.
All right, so...
it's hard to say. I mean, somebody gets in your face or something and starts rambling to you and tells you, "I thought you were supposed to be my friend." I mean, that's a pretty standard response when somebody's in your face and giving you a hard time, is to say, "Hey, I'm not your friend." So.
Well, if they're wanting to, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is in an engaging evening. Hey, let's look at this promo. We'll continue here with Mike. Do you have to leave?
No.
You don't have to go any. Okay, we'll continue taking calls for Mike Reddy, but look at this promo that we have here on our Jann Scott Live.
Yes, it is the Jann Scott Show, right on Channel 54. That's Jann.
He can be very nice, or he can be very, very, very nasty.
It's mostly
A
nasty.
wise guy pounding on that table. getting his
He
point
pounds
across.
home his points.
It's seen in Denver.
Sometimes
on Channel
people call in,
55.
sometimes even those CU students,
Sometimes the
if
vagrants
they can
call.
find their phone.
7 a.m. in Denver.
And when they
7
call
days a
in,
week.
they say, he has important guests on
Turns
his
those guys
show
over to the
who
police.
discuss important, serious topics for the
Those are
informed
important topics.
viewers of Boulder.
Not just serious, but very important, too. Important and serious and profound,
He makes fun of the celebrity journalists in Denver.
like Petey and
Takes
others.
on big issues in Boulder, like the Ramsey case
Dog
and
issues.
dog
Don't forget the dog
issues.
issues.
The Ramsey case.
The riots on the Hill were covered intensely by Jann. He was even there.
He threw that
police.
brick, I'll bet.
There are sex on Jann's
Well,
show.
not right on the
Not
show.
really.
Call in with suggestions for this
Please
promo.
call in and
Back here in studio with Mike Reddy. He is, Sergeant Mike Reddy is the, right here, Zach, is our Hill Sergeant for the Hill team. Kinetics weekend is up. Exams are coming up here. And can we have a camera over here, please? Thank you. We have a new director who is like, he must be drinking too much Coca-Cola or something. Jim, stop talking to them. Throw the... Folks, we have a small studio audience back in here. The girls and boys have come down from the university and they're... Sergeant Mike Reddy, he's a happy guy. He could be your friend. Just don't try to hit him. Big mistake. He's got SWAT training. All right. 440-3572 is the number if you want to have a question for Sergeant Reddy. Also, if you're on campus, University of Colorado campus, maybe you have some, two questions have come up about there's nothing to do if you can't go to the bars, and the question is, what is the university providing for students to do over Kinetics weekend, over the exam weekend, during that time period? And that's something, you guys are bringing up those concerns. Also, we get a lot of CU students that watch this show. We get hundreds of calls every week on our comment line, so this is a night for you guys to call in. I think what we'd like to try to do is, as they said in the movie, what the hell was it? Independence Day, can we have a peace? No, whatever. Scott, how you're on the air? You got a question or comment for Sergeant Mike Reddy?
Yeah, sure do.
Yep.
I'm a 21-year-old student. I'm just curious as to, I know the open container violations that occur on the Hill and stuff. Is it legal to carry closed containers, like a six-pack or something, to a different person's house? Is that legal to carry that on the Hill?
Yes.
It is.
You can carry any container that hasn't been opened.
Okay.
So, like if you're carrying a bottle, say it's a whiskey bottle or something, the seal can't have been broken on it.
Okay, but as long as it's like a six-pack,
But if it's a six-pack, all six are closed, and you're carrying it like from your house to a friend's, or you're going from the liquor store to your house, that's legal.
Okay.
As long as nothing's open, and as long as you're old enough to possess it.
Okay. I have
Hey,
another
Scott, I
question.
got a question for you. How old are you?
21.
You're 21. You're a CU student?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you foresee for this coming weekend and next weekend? What are you hearing on campus, and what's the talk?
I don't think it'll be a real problem. I think the majority of the students found it kind of absurd what happened last year.
Yeah.
And just being a part of the Greek community and stuff, it kind of hurt us because it was directed towards us in a way. When actually I was there for one occasion where Greek people were trying to stop what was going on. And it's sort of a thing where everyone's pointing the finger at everyone else, and I think that everyone learned their lesson from last year with the violations and everything. They got charged and people kicked out of school and whatever, and I don't think it'll be a big issue this year.
Are you in a fraternity?
Yes, I am.
You are. Okay, so and the fraternity is you guys are. What do you guys have planned for the weekend?
Nothing really.
You don't have anything planned? What about for the weekend after?
That's pretty much open.
Are you a drinking fraternity now or non-drinking?
Drinking.
You still there?
Yes, non-drinking. Sorry, that was the call waiting.
Oh, it's non-drinking, really?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you guys like to have ice cream socials, dances, that sort of thing?
Not necessarily. Just we have bans on us from nationals and everything, and also from the IFC. That doesn't allow drinking to go on at the house. So if we're going to have a party or something, it'll be at a bar where the people that are over 21 can drink and people that are under 21.
What kind of job are the Boulder cops doing?
Pretty decent. It used to be a lot more them almost to the point of harassing us, coming by, shining lights in the windows occasionally and everything like that. if there was even just a few people just sitting outside or whatever. There was a few instances like that, but lately it seems like if we're not having anything like loud noises or anything coming out of the house, that they pretty much leave us be and trust us enough to know that we have good judgment.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good to hear. And how do you like my TV show?
It's not bad. I catch it late night sometimes.
Yeah, good, okay. All right, take care of yourself.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye. 440-3572. Now we've got this, Patsy Ramsey's getting ready to have her own talk show, and O.J. Simpson, well, you see, he was trying to stab the talk show host with a banana. Have a look at this. Oh, have a look at this, Zach. Here we go. Are we all queued up? Oh, yeah, it is. That's the wrong tape, huh? Oh, our director. That's the next one, isn't it, OJ? Yeah. Here it comes. And also, we'll take your calls for Sergeant Mike Reddy. He's going to be here for the full hour. Only got 15 minutes left. Are we ready to roll that now, buddy?
With the sound. And they actually said, well, let's shoot it again. Let's do it again, but hold it here. And I actually had to shoot it more than once for them, which is curious. They see her on TV saying she thought it was not proper and told me not to do it again. They asked me to do it again, and they filmed it again.
Simpson was also quite candid about a man he says he once felt tremendous sympathy for, Fred Mann.
At this point, this guy's made a career out of this thing. He's attempted to become a radio DJ. He's, attempting to have a TV show. So I think opportunities wouldn't be presented to him if the public didn't have this image that this OJ committed these crimes. Everybody's capable of committing murder.
Everybody's capable.
Ruby Wax spent 12 hours with the ex-Gridiron great, mostly in a car after the two were denied access into several restaurants. But they did tour popular Venice Beach, California. OJ didn't exactly receive a hero's welcome.
I've never personally shaken hands with a murderer. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And after our interview, OJ got a different welcome. Take a look as Simpson is approached by a man who introduces himself as the judge in Simpson's double murder trial.
Judge Ito. It's Judge Ito.
It wasn't Ito, but somehow OJ continues to find the humor.
Raise even more questions.
Oh, you didn't run that thing. Run that part. Did it run? There it is.
But now the Ramseys may be ready to give their own version of what happened and break their long silence. They
continued to maintain his innocence until his death.
Patsy Ramsey's going to have her own talk show. Won't that be terrific? I want to even ask you about the case. Are you working on that case?
No. Never
Okay.
have.
No.
Don't plan to.
Don't plan to. Have no interest in it.
Have no interest in it, really.
Right. Think there'll be an arrest soon? All right, Jeff, you're on the air. Question or comment for Sergeant Mike Reddy?
Yeah, hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. I have a question. I'm 30 years old, lived here in Boulder 3 years. And my main question is, outside of watching reruns of Highways of the, lifestyles of the highway cop.
Yeah, Cop Chases 5, the wildest police chases. Those are my favorite shows. Go ahead, Jeff.
How do we as citizens arm ourselves against cop outside of the Constitution? What kind of knowledge can we get to, help us deal with situations if we do get pulled over by cops?
Well, what is it specifically? You got a scenario?
Well, let's just say, you're driving down the road in your car, and the police, they want to ask you several questions on if you've been drinking, would you like to take a breathalyzer, anything like that. I mean, how do we know, our rights and the borders, and if
okay, perfect. Hang on here for a second. That's a good. Thanks for your call, Jeff, and we'll get Mike to answer it.
Okay. Well, I guess it was all kind of centered around as if you're stopped for suspected DUI, is how do you handle with it?
Right.
And basically the law in Colorado and in which as an officer is allowed to stop you if they have probable cause for a traffic violation.
Let's talk about probable cause.
Okay.
So, because he was talking about the police state thing, and that you guys, cops are just, look, I'm going to do a profile stop. He looks weird, I'm pulling him over.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen. For DUIs, what happens is generally something causes the officer to, again, people tend to cause the police to look at them for some reason.
Like driving 10 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone.
Exactly. Speeding, running a red light, weaving in your traffic lane.
Using the center line to guide your car home with.
Exactly. All those kind of things all add up to a moving violation or are moving violations that allow us to stop you. Once we've stopped someone and we've approached the car, there are certain things that people who have been drinking have. And some of those things are an odor of an alcoholic beverage on their breath.
Right.
That's a dead giveaway.
Jeff, I'm going to tell you something, okay? I'm really, really experienced with being pulled over by cops when I'm drunk or whatever, just, running into them. The best thing to do, this is from a civilian's point of view, is, just say, yes, sir. When they pull you over, put your hands up on the steering wheel. Be really nice to them. And it goes, from where I sit, it goes a long, long way.
The best thing is this, actually, if you've been drinking and you think you're on the verge, take a cab, have a friend drive you, do something other than get behind the wheel.
Let's go to Chris. Chris, how you're on the air?
Hi. I got a question for Mike.
Yep.
I was wondering where you get your haircut.
Thanks, Chris. Good call. Ho, ho, ho. Where do you get your haircut?
Hey, you go to Louis Manor Barbershop in Broomfield. They're my buds, and they probably deserve the plug. Absolutely.
Okay. Louis Manor Barbershop in Broomfield? Mm-hmm. That's a buzz cut.
Yep.
I like it. Okay, 440-3572. How's the police department doing? How do you like them? Do we have a great police department? So far you guys have been doing a great job on this TV show. I really have to commend all of you. Every call we've gotten tonight are from CU students, and you've been doing a terrific job. No girls, no women have called in.
Nope.
We should get Ladd and Gabe to do a little chair throwing episode in here. It's kind of like Jerry Springer. What else? Oh, you know what? While we're waiting for the next call, let's run that next piece. This is what the heck is this? This is James Earl Ray, another guy who didn't do it.
Continued to maintain his innocence until his death. However, Anna says that Ray confessed to her, ending rumors of a government conspiracy.
He just blurted it out that one time that, yeah, I did it. What if I did? I never got a trial.
They're married. While Anna may now be totally convinced of his guilt, some in the King family are not.
The devil's poking him in the butt with a pitchfork saying, no, you have to stand closer to the fire.
But now, with Ray's death, chances...
This is, turn my mic up there. Yeah, let this run too. This is Guy's Dream Girls right here. Oh no, this is for Todd Solomon. All right, the hell with it. That was a gospel band. Go to, what is it, Jeremy? Jeremy, hi. You're on the air tonight.
Yeah, I'm 16, and I was just curious for the cop. When you guys go to break up parties, do you guys look to give alcohol tickets to the teenagers?
You're 15?
16.
16. Are you drinking? You going to drinking parties?
Yeah, sometimes. If there's a keg, I'll drink.
Mm-hmm. What's that scene like? Before he answers the question, I mean, how many keggers are there, and that kind of thing? Maybe you can enlighten us.
It is a lot.
A lot, really?
Yeah.
Every weekend?
Yeah, there's at least a party or two every Friday or Saturday night.
Are they like in open fields or at people's homes?
People's homes.
People's homes? Do their parents let them do that?
Oh, parents are out of town.
Oh, the parents are out of town?
Yeah.
And then the kids trash the party?
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess I did that myself. What? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we get the occasional calls away from the hill or in the residential neighborhoods. Most of the time, it's again, everything has a reason, and it's usually because someone's done something to attract attention to their party or to themselves, and it's somebody puking in your neighbor's yard. It's somebody driving their car up through the neighbor's brush. It's it's loudness. It's you know how it is. You'll have a party and you'll ask for 5 or 10 of your closest friends to come over, and they of course tell 5 or 10 people, and pretty soon you got 150 people at your house at your small party, and that generally tends to cause us a little bit of concern. So, I mean, contrary to popular belief, we're not just out there cruising the streets in the residential neighborhoods looking for these parties. When we show up, it's because we've generally been called there.
Yeah, but do you...
Hey, Jeremy, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So what's the story like with high school parties? I mean, how many kids show up at them, and do the neighbors come over and get upset and they say, well, you're not supposed to be here because the Joneses are out of town, or what?
It just depends on like how big the party goes. If the word gets around that there's a party, a lot of people might show up.
Mm-hmm.
And if a lot of people show up, normally the parents or the neighbors won't really come over. They'll just call the police right away.
What happens when the parents find out that their son or daughter just had a major party while they were gone for the weekend?
It depends on the parents.
I mean,
the parents
tell me the
they're
worst.
real nice parents, and they're understanding. They'll forgive their kid, but if they're strict parents, they'll get really pissed off.
Did you ever hear of like a kid that disappeared?
No.
I mean, their parents sent them to reform school or sent them to...
Actually, I heard of one.
You're going to boarding school, that's it. Please, not boarding school. Gosh. So, do you drink a lot?
Not a lot, but occasionally. Occasionally on weekends.
It troubles me if you kids are out drinking every weekend, because alcohol is really addictive.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, thanks for your...
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, a little insight. Well, Mike, this has been... what do we have here? A minute left. Is that it, Gabe? Or Zach, rather? Whoever we are. We'll take this next call. 440-3572 for Mike Reddy, Sergeant Mike Reddy. He's the Hill Team Commander? Sergeant?
Sergeant, supervisor, big brother, something along those lines.
Big brother. You get along pretty well with the kids, the college kids?
I think so.
Do you guys, those of you that work on the Hill, do you like working in college towns? You like this job, this kind of job?
I've pretty much worked up on the Hill most of the time that I've been in patrol since I've worked here. I've always liked being around the college students. I find talking to them about issues like alcohol, things like that, pretty interesting, because I think what they find is that my views are not that far from theirs. And I think that's kind of shocking to a lot of them.
We'll take this next call. Hi, you're on the air with Mike Reddy. You can roll the credits there, Zach, whenever you want, and take me out. Doesn't matter. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello.
Am I on the air?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. My name is Kelly, and I was actually sitting on a jury that Officer Reddy was involved in with the Cortland Canal trial.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering what you thought of that verdict.
I would have been interested to talk to the jurors after that.
What was the Cortland Canal case? Can you
This was a trial about a month ago in which it took place during the riots, and the defendant was alleged to have thrown a rock at a sheriff's deputy and hit him, and he was found not guilty. And I'm kind of interested to hear from the jury's perspective, and maybe on the air is not the kind of isn't the place to do it, but I was definitely disappointed in the verdict.
We got to go. Thank you very much for calling, caller. See you guys next time. Thank you, Mike, for being here tonight. And this has been educational and entertaining. See you next week.